Welcome everybody to today's video. My name is Niclas Huschenbeth, and today I would like to show you one of the craziest games I've played in my chess career. So let's get into it. This game was played at the European Championship this year, 2018. The European Championship was held in Batumi, Georgia, and this game was in the fourth round of the tournament, 4th of 11, and I was playing with the white pieces against international master Bahruz Rzayev from Azerbaijan. So let's get into it. Get your popcorn ready or whatever you have. Sit back and enjoy this game. I start with 1e4, and of course we have Sicilian. What else could lead to a super crazy game than a Sicilian? And it is the Paulsen variation, bishop d3, or I think it's also called the Kann variation, K-A-N in English. Knight f6, castle. Now I'm threatening to go e5, so black goes d6, but this allows me to set up a Maroczy kind of bind in the center of the pawns on c4 and e4, controlling nicely the center squares, and black's not able to open up and equalize the space advantage by going d5. Bishop e7, knight c3, castle, bishop e3, b6, f4, bishop b7, queen f3. This is all pretty standard. Knight bd7. Actually though, I should have maybe put my queen on e2 instead of f3, because here, after rook ac1, which is a very normal move, black had a nice strike. Either here, or maybe the next move, rook c8, b4, he could have gone for knight e5, which is a move we both completely missed. A nice little shot. The point is that after d takes e5, d takes e5, there are too many pieces hanging on the d file, and black's doing quite well here. Obviously, if I cannot take well and have to retreat, black gets my bishop, and this would not be very great. So yes, completely missed that. My opponent went for rook c7, which is an interesting maneuver. He wants to play queen a8, maybe double on the c file and put more pressure on the pawn on e4. I went queen g3. I was also considering to go queen h3, which is also quite a plausible move, queen a8, and now my plan was to go e5. I could avoid the sneeze. My plan was to go e5, but that doesn't work, because here in this line, rook takes f6 looks nice, eliminating the defender of h7, but black doesn't have to take back. Instead he takes on d3, and now my attack is over and a lot of pieces are hanging, so that doesn't work. But in this position, as the computer points out, I can go g4, and after knight takes e4, just g5, very cool move. The point is that black can't deal with this threat, knight takes e6. Let's say he plays some kind of move, rook e8, knight takes e6, f takes e6, knight takes e4, bishop takes, and queen takes e6, and check and picking up the bishop, and white has more material. So queen h3 was also a possible move in this position, but I went for queen g3. And I still want to have these ideas in the position, either e5 or f5. That's my plan. So this is why I'm stepping out of this diagonal here with my queen. Then he went g6, and first I thought this move wouldn't be possible really, because I thought I can go f5, but f5 turns out to be not that great. Knight e5, bishop h6, this was my original plan, but now black has this move, knight h5. Queen has to keep defending the bishop on d3, and now bishop g5 is quite strong for black. And after bishop takes f8, bishop takes c1. Black has nice play on the dark squares here, and I didn't like this at all. Say rook takes c1, even queen g5 here. Hitting the rook, knight f4 is an idea. No, I don't want to have none of that. So I went for queen h3 now, which looks odd, right? Why do I play queen g3 and then queen h3? Well, Now that black has played g6, I often have the additional option to go f5 followed by bishop h6. And here my opponent went queen a8. But now, for some reason, I deviated from my original plan going f5 and I played something else. I went for knight takes e6, sacrificing a piece. f5 would have been stronger though, and knight takes e6 is just not necessary here. It's not necessary to take those drastic measures in this position. So f5 was completely fine. What I didn't like was knight e5, giving black this square, but white just plays bishop e2. And it's all good. I think what I missed is that after knight takes e4, I can, instead of taking on e6, what I often calculate, I can just play f6, which is a crushing move here, since I have this threat of queen h6 and checkmating. So black cannot take on e4, and then he has to react to this threat, so he has to take, but if he takes, he already gives away the square on d5, and his pawn structure is worsened, and this looks indeed quite good for me. This is clearly better for white. But maybe I was in a more aggressive mood and I thought, oh, this looks so great. Knight takes e6, this looks good. Takes, check. Rook f7 has to be played to protect the bishop. And now I went for knight d5. And black has to take this knight. C takes d5, rook takes c1, rook takes c1. So I was looking at this position and I thought, I have two pawns. My pawn structure is very nice with the pawns in the center. I have the bishops, I have the open c-file. This looks pretty good. But actually I overestimated this position. If black plays a move like queen e8 here, it's only black who can be better eventually because, well, he will consolidate and he has an extra piece, so he's doing okay. After rook c7, knight f8, queen drops back, black's able to defend everything and, well, black's doing very well. But my opponent had something else in mind, a move that I saw a little bit too late at a point when I couldn't really stop it anymore, and it's the move knight c5. Wow, that's quite a strike against my queen, and the point is that my queen is trapped after bishop c8. So this is what happened in the game, and here I have a number of very interesting possibilities to give up my queen. I went for queen takes f7, which is objectively not the best. So I guess the most normal continuation would be to take on d6, bishop takes, pawn takes, and now black should take on d6. He shouldn't move the rook because of the rook f8, d takes e7, rook e8. I think I can just go rook c7, I keep the pawn e7, that's just a little bit too much combined with the two bishops. So this is good for white. But black can take on d6, e takes f7, king takes f7, so now I have bishop and rook and a pawn for the queen, which is pretty much exactly the material equivalent to a queen. And I thought, okay, here I don't have too much. I was calculating this, check, but black can hide with the king on h6, and I'm not able to checkmate the king because of the rook c3. This looks very strong, but black's just in time to take on f4 and play g5, and even after bishop f7 there's g4, and black's always stopping the mate threats and there's nothing here. So I thought, well, the position is probably about equal. If I, for example, after king g7, if I go bishop d5 here, say queen f8, e5, bishop c5, something like this. Maybe still white can try something, but it should be equal. There are also other options in this position to play. I could have gone for queen takes c8. It's also very interesting. Queen takes c8 and c takes d6. Now queen d8, d takes e7, queen takes e7, something like rook d1. I have nice two center pawns, connected center pawns and the bishops. This is also interesting, but shouldn't be better for white either. And one last option I had was to go c takes b6, bishop takes e6, d takes e6, rook f8, and bring the rook to the 7th. But this seems just a little bit too crazy, right? I mean, I only have one piece for the queen. Still, I do have good compensation here with the rook on the 7th and the pawn. Most importantly, also on the 7th rank, one square away from queening. So this was all very interesting, but I decided to play something else. I decided to go for queen takes f7, king takes, and now c6. And here I only have a rook for the queen, but I was I was putting my hopes into this protect the pass pawn on c6. Still, I overestimated my position here. Black is better, if not to say winning, at this point. So let's see how this continues. Queen b8. I played c7, queen b7, and I went a4 to be able, if black goes b5, to answer with a5. Bishop f6. Now black has a strong threat of going bishop b2, bishop a3, bishop c5 when he's just winning, so he cannot allow this. I have to go rook c2. Bishop d7 and h3, just a useful move, giving my king some space. Black can of course not take an a4 because then I can just queen. So he went b5, he went b5, a5, b4, bishop b6, now queen c8. Right now I'm threatening to go c8 queen, so for example if black goes b3 I can go c8 queen, bishop takes, rook c7 check, and I'm winning back the queen, so that would be good for me. But black goes queen c8, and now still b3 is a threat. I don't want to allow this pawn to get all the way to b2, so I go bishop c4, and here my opponent played a mistake. He went bishop b5. He should go something like queen e8 and then go from there. And black is doing very, very well. Maybe, yeah, queen e8 and then bishop c8, something like this, and activate the queen, right? Also hitting the pawn on e4, yeah, that looks quite strong actually. So he went bishop b5 and I went bishop b3 rather quickly, but here I had a chance to go e5. The pawn is after d takes e5, d6 check. I'm getting my pawn to help the one on c7. Bishop takes c4, rook takes c4. Now there's the threat of d7 followed by c8 queen, so king e6. And now bishop c5, b3, rook b4 is quite unclear, and it seems like white is okay here at least. But I went bishop b3. And now king e8. And at this point I was getting pretty low on time. I was looking at my position and I thought, okay, what am I doing here? What am I doing? I have no play, I have no moves even. But here I think I made a very important move in the game. I played the move rook c1. This looks like not accomplishing anything, but I'm trying to find play. And I want to go bishop d1 and bishop g4. Something along these lines, bring this bishop to a more active diagonal. King d7. And now of course this invitation, especially if black goes king d7, to go bishop d1 and check. Black plays h5, stopping this. But I said, okay, I gotta try. I gotta make something happen here. f5. Open up. Again, trying to get to his diagonal. So he went g5. Here he could have taken on f5 and go king e7, and I'm not really able in time to get to this diagonal and pose me a threat. So this should be winning. This is winning for black, for sure. He went g5, which is also fine, but here I was already confused. Okay, he gives me this pawn, and I have a new route, bishop f7, bishop e6. So I was getting a little bit more excited that I can still do something, because earlier I thought, this must be just lost, right? So here he played b3, which is a mistake. He needs to go king e7, stopping bishop f7, and okay, it's still not so easy, but black should be able to win. He can slowly improve his position, let's say bishop d7, then bring his queen to h8, something like this. And the important thing is he still has his passed pawn on the b file. This will just break my neck eventually. But he goes b3, and here I see him relaxing. He's like leaning back in his chair, and he probably thought it's all over. But with about 1 or 2 minutes on the clock, I spotted this resource, and suddenly the game is completely open again. This move is the best, I would say, I played in the game. It's e5. Very beautiful. Once again, it's all about getting this bishop to this diagonal. So why not bishop f7? I mean, this looks strong, right? Threatening bishop e6. Well, black just goes king e7, bishop e6, and bishop d7. And if I take, he takes with the king. Then he brings his pawn to b2, and the pawn on b2 is just so strong, supported by the bishop. This is game over. So e5, what's the point? Well, if black takes with the bishop, then I can sacrifice another pawn going f6, and now black cannot even go king e7, and the bishop g4 check threat just decides the game immediately. Obviously black has to take this pawn, otherwise take his bishop. So he takes with the pawn, but now the bishop is not supporting the pawn anymore, and I can go bishop f7. Oh, I should say something here, that black, after d takes e5, I believe black is losing. He could have saved the game with an incredible sequence, which is b2, rook b1, and now queen h8, hitting of course also the bishop on h5, bishop f7, threatening bishop e6 check, followed by queening, king c8, rook takes b2. Now after bishop e6 check, of course, black always has bishop d7, so rook takes b2, bishop takes e5, rook takes b5, so black's not able to put his bishop in between, but black is just in time to go bishop d4 check, king f1, bishop takes b6, a takes b6, and now queen a1 check, and black gives a perpetual here. The white king cannot escape the black checks. So this is an incredible saving line, and of course very difficult to find for a human. So he went d takes e5, bishop f7, king e7, bishop e6, and now the bishop is of course beautiful on e6, protected twice, and cannot be dislodged, I think is the right word, from e6. Bishop d7. Here it was the 39th move. I played rook b1. I was quite happy to get rid of this strong b pawn finally, but I had a better shot. I could have gone d6 check, which also eliminates the b pawn, but in a better way. For example, king takes d6, now bishop takes b3, and the open d file will break black's neck here. Rook d1 check, king c6, bishop a4 check, king b7, now rook d8 or even rook d6 first, and white is winning. And the same is true after d6 check, king e8, bishop takes b3, bishop takes f5 and rook f1, and those pawns are just too far advanced and white should win here. Also g4 is a potential threat now. This looks very bad for black, and it is. But I went rook b1, and here after e4, now I have to take because black is threatening b2. Rook takes b3, and this was not a 40th move, and my opponent played bishop e5, which is a mistake. He should go king d6, when again it's very much unclear. Rook b4, e3, rook c4, bishop takes e6, d takes e6, king e5, rook c3, king takes f5, rook takes e3. This is just very difficult to evaluate. Obviously this setup is very good for me because I will just always keep this pawn, and I have another pass pawn e6, so who knows. But if somebody has chance, it should be white. Bishop e5 was played. Now bishop c5 check, king f6, bishop d6 just doesn't work because of f6 check and take, and this wins. So king f6, and here I played d6, and I thought, well, I'm going rook b8 next. What do you want to do? Of course you can take on e6, but here still I can play rook b8, and it doesn't look like black has a shot to get a perpetual check. Actually, I calculated one specific line here. Not sure if it's completely correct because I didn't check before this game, but it goes like this. Wait, does it go like this? Queen c4. Yes, rook f8 check. Rook f8 check. King g6, c8 queen. And now queen c1 check. Rook f1 and bishop d4 check. This is what I calculated, making use of this pin. Now But maybe now just king h2. I think I was calculating bishop takes d4, but why not king h2? Queen takes f1, bishop takes d4, queen f4 check. This is winning, no checks for black. And if bishop e5 check, yeah, this is what I didn't like, probably g3, and now queen takes f1. Still, this also looks good, but I'm not completely sure. Anyway, what I was calculating was here bishop d4 check, that I can once again give up my queen and then play rook f6 check, king h7, rook f7 check, king g6, king g8 or king g6 and d7, and now rook g7 check first, king f8 and d7. Yeah, this is what I was looking at pretty much. Queen c1 check, king h2. But maybe, yeah, queen c7 check, king h1. And if now queen c1 check, then bishop g1 should be good. Queen d2, rook h7, threatening rook h8, king g8, rook e7, and that should be it. Okay. Just a variation I calculated during the game, something like this, probably full of mistakes. Anyways, so this bishop takes e6 doesn't work. Probably many other winning ways for white too. And he played e3. Very interesting, very good defensive resource he found here. And here I played rook b8, because I missed this idea first. I should play rook takes e3, which is also not easy, because if the bishop takes e6, f takes e6, queen takes e6, the only winning move here, can you guess it? King h1. Well, the point is that the king is much better placed on h1, because whenever black gives a check on the first rank, white can just go bishop g1. And then white is going back to this plan of playing the rook to b8, for example. One line could be queen f5, rook f3, bishop f4, bishop d4 check, king f7, rook c3, queen b1 check, bishop g1, and white is queening and winning. So this was better, but I just didn't see what to play after queen takes e6. King h1 only crossed my mind actually after the game. I thought, well, maybe I just put my king on h1, but during the game I didn't think about it. So, rook b8, e2, and now I realize what he wants. I go bishop f2, stopping the pawn, and he goes bishop takes d6. And the point is, I take his queen, and first it looks like I'm just completely winning, right? But he plays bishop c5. Wow. Bishop c5, threatening to go e1 queen. So I go rook f8 check, and black cannot take on f8, because then I can just give a check and bring my king to f2, stop the pawn, and this one is still queening. But he goes king g7. And here there is an absolutely fantastic line that I didn't find. It's study-like. It is very much a study. Absolutely incredible. So get ready for some very special stuff here. What I played was rook f7 check. Normal move. But what I could have done was f6 check. The point is, once again, black cannot take on f8 because, well, not once again, we didn't see this before, but here I can take with check, obviously, and then stop the pawn. So black has king g6 or king h6. King h7 obviously is not an option. I was going to say obviously, but nothing's obvious here. But here I can go bishop f5 check. If king h6, rook h8 mate, and if bishop takes f5, rook e8, I can stop the pawn. So he has king h6 or king g6. Now king g6. I think I even saw f6 check, but I thought, okay, king g6, what am I supposed to do now? But here, white has this move, bishop f5 check. Just fantastic. Fantastic move. Just incredible move. And the point is, once again, bishop takes f5, rook e8. But black king cannot go to h6 or h5 because of checkmate. And if king takes f5, now here's the point. Now I can once again go rook e8, because now if black takes, unlike in other lines, I can check. I can queen with check and then just take the bishop and win. In other lines, if I wasn't to queen with check, then black could go e1 queen with check himself. So that wouldn't be good. So this one line, but okay, this was already very cool, but watch out for what's coming. After king h6, I go rook h8 check, king g6, once again bishop f5 check. Same idea, if black takes on f5, rook e8, but black doesn't have to take, he can go king takes f6. Now, white also has to find only moves here, otherwise he's losing. Rook h6 check. So black has to go to f7 or g7. If he goes to f5, I can go g4 check, king f4, and now it's very cool, just play king g2, because I'm unpinning my bishop, and if black takes, I just take back and I stop the pawn. This is also a cool idea. And if king e5, white also has only one winning move here, which is king h2. The point being that now, after bishop takes f2, I can take on d7, and now that the black king is on the e file, after e1 queen, I can go rook e6 check, pick up the queen, and then queen myself. Next move. But this is still not everything, okay? If king g7 or king f7, then rook h7 check, king f6, and now the final touch to this whole combination, to this whole line, rook e7. Now it's the winning move. Before we had to move the rook on e8, now the rook is on e7, and white wins. If king takes e7, it's bishop takes c5 again, and if bishop takes e7, white can now go bishop to d3, pick up the pawn, still keeps this one, still keeps an extra pawn here, and is winning. Yeah, I should have seen this, obviously. No, I'm just kidding. If I had played this, probably I would have been immediately disqualified for cheating. But yeah, wonderful, wonderful line. Very, very beautiful. So back to this position. I played rook f7 check, king h6. So here I repeat the moves once, check, check, go here, and now I play bishop takes c5. I'm allowing black to queen. He queens with check. Now queen e5 check, king h1. And black cannot give another check because I can put my bishop in between. And also an important point is that black cannot take on e6 here because I have bishop f8 check followed by checkmate. So black has to take this bishop. And now I take the bishop on d7, and it's very nice, all my pieces are protected, but unfortunately black can give a lot of checks here. But I thought, well, we'll see, maybe it's a perpetual, maybe it's not, I didn't see anything better for me anyway. But this should be a perpetual. He went queen c1, which I also expected. Actually, he can either here or next move play a move like queen c3, which is very smart, trying to bring the queen to e1. So for example, if I go rook h7 now and c8 queen, he can go queen e1 check and queen e5, and this is a draw. The white king cannot escape the draw, the checks. And the same thing after queen c1, king h2, he could have gone queen e3 here with the same idea to be able to give checks on e5 and e1. But he went what I also expected, was just giving checks, but now I can run out with my king. Still, it remains a draw, but at some point, here for example, queen b2 is already the only move. Queen b2, king d3, check, check, check. And I think once again my opponent was relaxing a little bit. He thought it's just a draw, but he still has to be precise. King c3, and now king b4. And here my opponent has to play an only move, and he didn't find it. He played queen b1 check. He had to go queen e1. queen e1 check, king c4, and now once again only move queen f1 check. Because after queen e2 I can go rook d3. But after queen f1, rook d3, black picks up the pawn c7, and then I'm not better anymore. It's a draw. And if I go king c5, queen b5 check, but the black queen just doesn't allow me to run away, queen b4 check, I cannot go to e7, and this is a draw. King e5, queen c3 check, and so on. But fortunately for me, my opponent played queen b1 check when I can bring my bishop in between, and now it is winning. Check, check. Okay, just repeat moves once again, just to gain some time on the clock. Check, king d4, check, and now I just run forward. He can take the pawn f5, I don't care about this pawn. All I care about is this pawn on c7, and that is going to queen. Queen d3 check, king e7. Obviously if black takes my bishop I can queen. Queen c3. And now I just went rook d6 check, king h5. If he goes king h7, okay, white has many ways, but I want to play bishop c2 check, which is quite cute. The point is that the queen is being distracted from these squares, and if black takes I can just go king d8, and unlike with the queen on c3, black doesn't have a check, and I will queen next move and win. So king h5, bishop f7 check, and now just king d7, and black doesn't have a check. My rook is guarding the king nicely, and after queen g7 I can just queen, because there's no perpetual here. Queen c4, king b7, and black's running out of checks pretty quickly. So after king c6 my opponent resigned. Yeah, incredible game with lots and lots and lots of mistakes from both players, but this is why I play chess, just for exactly those games. Completely crazy, with ups and downs, roller coaster game, and some very, very beautiful lines, as you probably agree with me. So I hope you guys enjoyed this game. Let me know in the comments what you thought of it, and then I'll catch you again very soon. I'll upload 2 more analyses from the European Championship, so I see you in one of these videos. Until then, my friends, bye bye.